Sometimes it takes a little bit of driving to get to places that have some unique and interesting features, experiences, historical sites, or what have you. And this week, we're driving a little bit of a distance to the fringe of Ontario, Thunder Bay. It's kind of the most northwestern part before hitting the Manitoba border. And there's a lot of cool stuff in Thunder Bay. Most people don't know it or just think, hey, that's a long ways away. But I mean, truth is, for most Americans from the UP of Michigan or Wisconsin or all of those areas, it's easy to get to. It's 30% cheaper for Americans to go there with the exchange rate. And there is a ton of cool stuff to do. A lot of the times on these trips, I want to go from point A to point B by sled. But the truth is, I miss out on a lot of really cool opportunities and unique experiences. So this is kind of our, I guess we're going to call it our bucket list experience in Thunder Bay. First, we're going to stop probably at Kakabeka Falls, which is a really cool falls. The snowmobile trail goes right over top of it. After that, we're going to try to hit up Silver Mountain Station. And then finally, I really wanted to go to White Otter Castle. It's a huge home built out in the absolute middle of nowhere. In the wintertime, the only way to get to White Otter Castle is to go by sled, unless you're into going 30K snowshoe or by ski. And it's pretty cool. It's right off the trail. We're going to meet up with some folks there and have a good time. It was a pretty long drive headed up to Thunder Bay, but when we got in, we were excited to, to be there, be able to get a good night's sleep. And then the next morning, we were going to wake up, meet Paul Pepe, who's with Tourism in Thunder Bay and Northwestern Ontario.
Had breakfast with Paul Pepe, who's a local tourism guy, and he's going to be pretty much taking care of us while we're on the ground here. So now let's get geared up, pack everything up, and head out to Kakabeka Falls, which is literally just like 15 minutes outside of town. Really cool spot. It's pretty much the trailhead for all of Thunder Bay, so that's where we're going.
All right. So when we arrived at Kakabeka Falls, we were going to meet up with Adrian Tessier, who's a member of the club in Thunder Bay, and he was going to be able to sort of walk us through a little bit of the history of Kakabeka Falls and tell us some of the neat and interesting facts that we weren't aware of. Tell us about Kakabeka Falls and why it's so important to the Thunder Bay area.
So the start of the trail is basically in the village, like I said, a kilometer from here. And the trail goes across this bridge just up above the falls here, which is a really pretty sight. And from here, the trails go right to the Manitoba border.
And tell us a little bit about the falls, why it's pretty unique.
Well, Kakabeka Falls is commonly referred to as the Niagara of the North, and we're quite proud of it. It's a beautiful waterfalls. As you can see, it's kind of iced over. This is the Calvinistic Hwa River. It's quite a historic river back in the Northwest Company days, the trading posts and whatnot. It was a trading route that was used quite regularly. Kakabeka Falls, of course, was a bit of an issue, and there's a portage that goes around here.
The unique feature here is that we actually get to cross the falls as part of the trail. That's something that, I mean, where else do you do this in Ontario? This is great. So the trail actually goes clean across. The park is totally cool with this. In fact, they're encouraging of using their parking lot in the wintertime.
The Kakabeka Falls Park is part of our community. They're one of the residents of our area, and they fully understand tourism, and that's what parks are all about. Everybody talking about their bucket list, they got a whole chain of things. So you come up here, you can take a lot of history on your bucket list and check them off, and check them off with memories that you'll keep for a long, long time. People that see Kakabeka Falls remember that forever. They go home, they talk to their friends about it, because it is a really great thing to see.
So the second stop on our Thunder Bay bucket list was Silver Mountain Station. And when you pull up to Silver Mountain Station, an old train station from, yesteryear, you look at it and you go, are you sure that this is a train station? Because I don't see any train tracks, I don't see any flat area. I mean, what exactly is this place? I was excited to find out.
It was built in 1907, and it was part of the Port Arthur, Duluth and Western Railway, and it's the last standing station of that line. The North Lake Station, which was the sister station, was burned down in 2004.
That's obviously restoration.
Yeah,
after they lifted it and put the basement under?
Yeah.
And that was in the 70s, you said?
Yeah. See where this here is? That's actually the bar now.
Okay.
That was the ticket booth. But my busiest months are August, September, and October.
And you're doing a lot of murder mysteries during that time?
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of the...
I've been doing them all year. They get more popular and more popular.
Cool.
I started the murder mystery dinners because I was trying to figure out how to make this place go 12 months a year.
Yeah.
They get right dressed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I checked out some of the pictures. It looks like people get into it pretty good.
Yeah, they get right excited about it, and they're ready to their part. And then you get the people that go, well, I don't want to play, I don't want to play. So I have spectator roles, right? But I always say, everybody know your role. Usually, sometimes, most of the time, the spectators are the ones that are the wildest.
Yep. You've had this book reprinted. You now have the licensing rights to the whole thing, copy and publishing rights. So you had it actually taken back to the press again because there was no more copies.
Right.
So tell us about Lady Lumberjack and the history of it.
Lady Lumberjack ran this train station in 1907 until the other people with seniority in 1912 said, oh no, we want to do that. We've been here longer. She was the first unmarried woman to be granted a homestead in Ontario. She was one of 3 people to win the Canadian Authors Publishing Award across Canada, and the only woman.
Oh, cool.
There are some people that live today that knew her. She lived to 99. She died in 1979.
Wow. So she didn't build it?
No.
Okay.
No. This is built by the Port Arthur Duluth and Western Railway.
And they let her come in and be the one to first run it.
Yeah.
Which would have been, I mean, that would have probably set some precedent for the day. That wouldn't have happened anywhere.
No.
Yeah, that wasn't a lady's job in the day, right?
That's right.
Wow. Is this pretty much the remains of what once was here? Is Silver Mountain Station?
Yes.
That's all that really is left.
Yes.
Underneath the addition, is there any track left, or was
No.
it all taken?
It was all taken.
It was all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So where else can you snowmobile from Kakabeka Falls to 1907?
Yeah. No. Nowhere I know of.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Go back in time. Yep. All right, well, we have finished up at Silver Mountain Station. Got my helmet, got my sled, and we're gonna head for Atikokan tonight, stay there, and then go out and see White Otter Castle, which everybody that I've talked to says is amazing. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm excited to see it. But I'll be on my own for this next section and meet up with a few folks out in Atikokan once we get there. So that's where we're going. So I left Silver Mountain Station and Adrian and the rest of the team there, and I headed out on my own for Atikokan, which was about a 2-hour drive on the sled. Got into Atikokan, and I was actually gonna hook up with the truck and trailer there and then follow out to this point where we would leave to go visit White Otter Castle. Now you can ride right from Atikokan, but to save some time and be able to show you this, I needed to hook up with a crew there and ride out by truck and trailer. When we met up with everybody, it was at this place called Brown's Clearwater Lodge. It's a little ways outside of Atikokan, not too far by truck and trailer. And that was the point right on a lake system that we were gonna hook up and go see the White Otter Castle. It's about 20 miles by sled from Brown's Clearwater into the castle, and it was a pretty cool ride. I mean, there'd been some wind and some drifting on the lake, so you had some, you know, kind of wind lips that you were hitting as you were going along, but it's staked out and it's very easy to find your way to White Otter Castle. The ride out was nice. It was a very cold day, about minus 27, and it stayed that way most of the day, but we had a great time, and the ride out was really fun. So my first initial impressions of the castle as you're pulling up from the water is, wow, this thing is really big. You know, it's sizable. This would be a good sized house in today's time. I mean, this would be a large, large home. So when we first pulled in, the crew that I was with, you know, they've been there a whole lot of times. It's nothing new to them. For me, I wanted to jump off and go check it out inside because, I mean, this is so unique and so new and so cool. I just wanted to get in there and look at all the stuff and sort of experience this White Otter Castle. We're out here at White Otter Castle, which only get to by snowmobile in the wintertime. 20-mile ride in from the nearest sort of place that you can drop a truck and trailer. But the cool part is, this is accessible by so many loops out of Thunder Bay or out of Atikokan or wherever. I mean, you can get to this point just a little bit off the beaten path, but it's well marked, it's easy to get here, and the really neat part is that there's a little shack outside that's got all kinds of cool information. There's this, like, all these plaques inside this building. It's completely accessible, and you can get inside and walk around and go do whatever you want. Like, it's cool. You're allowed to explore. It's kind of cool to think that, like, this timber right here was lifted up by one man almost 100 years ago. The guy just had the tenacity and the, I guess, strength, even though he was a small guy, Jimmy McQuaid, to be able to lift this stuff up here and do this. I mean, sure, there's been some restoration and there's some new beams, but these gray colored ones, that's original. That guy did that by hand. He hand cut them out of the forest behind here, dragged them over, hewed them flat with an axe. I mean, no sawmill, no nothing. The guy just did all of this. It's crazy. The beautiful part about snowmobiling and seeing a place like White Otter Castle in the wintertime, when you go with friends, you can start a fire, you can bring along your lunch, you can just have a little bit of a cookout and enjoy your time. And that's exactly what it's about when you go to a place like this, you know? Don't just stop by, run inside, say you've been there, take a selfie and be gone. I really enjoyed my time here with the Atikokan Snowmobile Club, and you know, their hospitality was just, you know, top notch. It was great. We really enjoyed standing around the fire and telling stories about sleds and riding and all kinds of different things. And I hope this bucket list has given you a little bit of an inclination as to what you could do in the Thunder Bay and Northwestern Ontario area. And for us, we're headed out. We're going back to Perch Lake Lodge, which is a snowmobile-friendly experience, snowmobile-friendly resort. We're going to get a good meal, have a good night's sleep, and call it a day. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, like it and then subscribe to our page for more great content from SnowTrax TV.